The world is witnessing a resurgence of nuclear weapons. This resurgence is not just a relic of the past but a pressing issue of the present, as nations ramp up their arsenals in a bid to assert dominance and secure their interests. The specter of nuclear conflict, once thought to be a distant memory, is now a looming threat that could reshape global power dynamics. After decades of relative calm, the threat of nuclear war is once again casting a long shadow over international affairs. The delicate balance that once kept the world in check is now being tested by new players and shifting alliances. The international community watches with bated breath as the stakes continue to rise. At the heart of this unsettling trend lies China's rapid and secretive nuclear buildup. This expansion is not just about increasing numbers, but also about advancing technology and strategy. China's military parades showcase their growing capabilities, sending a clear message to the world about their rising power. This development has sent ripples of concern across the globe, particularly in Washington. The United States, along with its allies, is closely monitoring China's actions, trying to decipher their intentions and prepare for any potential threats. The geopolitical landscape is becoming increasingly complex as nations navigate this new reality. For decades, the United States operated under the assumption of its nuclear superiority. This belief was rooted in its vast arsenal and technological advancements, which provided a sense of security and deterrence. However, the emergence of new nuclear powers is challenging this long-held notion. The Cold War rivalry with the Soviet Union, while terrifying, had a strange stability to it. Both superpowers understood the concept of mutually assured destruction, which acted as a deterrent against the actual use of nuclear weapons. This uneasy peace was maintained through a series of strategic moves and counter-moves. Both sides understood the horrific consequences of nuclear war. The memories of Hiroshima and Nagasaki served as stark reminders of the devastation that nuclear weapons could unleash. This shared understanding helped to prevent the escalation of conflicts into full-blown nuclear war. This understanding led to arms control agreements and a degree of predictability. Treaties such as the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, START, and the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, INF, were milestones in reducing the nuclear threat. These agreements provided a framework for managing and reducing nuclear arsenals. The rise of China, however, presents a new set of challenges. Unlike the Cold War era, where two superpowers dominated the nuclear landscape, the current scenario is more fragmented and unpredictable. China's rapid advancements in military technology and its strategic ambitions are reshaping the global order. Unlike the Cold War, where a rough balance of terror existed, China's nuclear ambitions are shrouded in secrecy. This opacity makes it difficult for other nations to assess the true extent of China's capabilities and intentions. The lack of transparency adds a layer of uncertainty and risk to the already volatile situation. This lack of transparency makes it difficult to gauge the true extent of China's nuclear capabilities. Intelligence agencies and defense analysts are working tirelessly to piece together information from various sources, but the full picture remains elusive. This uncertainty complicates strategic planning and decision-making. This uncertainty fuels anxiety among policymakers and defense analysts. The fear of the unknown and the potential for miscalculation create a tense atmosphere. Governments are under pressure to respond to the growing threat while avoiding actions that could escalate the situation further. It also complicates efforts to engage China in meaningful arms control discussions. Diplomatic channels are open, but progress is slow and fraught with challenges. The lack of trust and transparency hinders the ability to reach agreements that could stabilize the situation. The world is left to grapple with the implications of a more powerful and assertive China, armed with an expanding nuclear arsenal. The international community must navigate this new era with caution, seeking ways to manage the risks and prevent a new arms race. The future of global security depends on the ability to address these challenges effectively. The United States, under the Trump administration, has taken a more confrontational approach towards China. This shift reflects a growing recognition that China's rise represents a significant geopolitical challenge. The Trump administration has adopted a policy of strategic competition with China. This competition encompasses various dimensions, including economic, technological, and military domains. The nuclear realm is arguably the most concerning aspect of this rivalry. The US has expressed growing alarm over China's nuclear modernization program and its lack of transparency. The Biden administration, while seeking a more nuanced approach, also acknowledged the seriousness of the China challenge. The United States has continued to invest in modernizing its nuclear arsenal, while also seeking to engage China in dialogue. However, significant mistrust hinders these efforts. The U.S. faces a difficult balancing act. It must deter Chinese aggression while also preventing a dangerous escalation of tensions. The stakes are incredibly high, and the path forward is fraught with uncertainty. One of the most troubling aspects of China's nuclear buildup is its lack of transparency. Unlike the United States, which provides regular updates on its nuclear arsenal and doctrine, China operates in a shroud of secrecy. Beijing has consistently refused to engage in meaningful arms control discussions. This lack of transparency makes it difficult for the international community to assess the true nature and extent of China's nuclear capabilities. Estimates of China's nuclear warheads vary widely. Some analysts believe China is rapidly expanding its arsenal. This secrecy has fueled suspicion and mistrust among China's neighbors and the United States. It has also complicated efforts to establish confidence-building measures and reduce the risk of miscalculation or accidents. Without greater transparency, the world is left to speculate about China's intentions. This uncertainty creates a dangerous environment where misperceptions and miscalculations could have catastrophic consequences. The lack of transparency from Beijing poses a significant obstacle to arms control efforts. This opacity is not just a recent development, but has been a long-standing issue that complicates international relations and global security. The Chinese government's secretive nature regarding its military capabilities and nuclear arsenal creates an environment of suspicion and uncertainty. Historically, arms control agreements have relied on verification and mutual trust. These agreements, such as the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty and various test ban treaties, have been cornerstones of global security. They have been successful largely because the involved parties were willing to be transparent and allow verification measures. However, China's reluctance to disclose information about its nuclear program makes it extremely difficult to establish such trust. This lack of openness not only hinders bilateral relations, but also poses a broader risk to international stability. Without clear information, other nations are left to speculate, often assuming the worst-case scenarios. The United States has repeatedly called on China to join nuclear arms control talks. These calls have been echoed by other nations and international bodies, all recognizing the importance of including China in the global arms control framework. The inclusion of China is seen as essential for any meaningful progress in reducing nuclear risks. However, Beijing has resisted these calls, arguing that its nuclear arsenal is significantly smaller than that of the US and Russia. This argument is used to justify their stance that they should not be held to the same standards or expectations as the two largest nuclear powers. China maintains that it is not obligated to participate in negotiations until the US and Russia make significant reductions to their own arsenals. This position has led to a deadlock, with each side waiting for the other to make the first move. The result is a dangerous stalemate that benefits no one. Without China's participation, it is unlikely that meaningful progress can be made on global nuclear disarmament. The international community recognizes that any comprehensive arms control agreement must include all major nuclear powers, including China. Their involvement is crucial for the success of any disarmament efforts. The international community must find ways to incentivize China to engage in good faith dialogue and embrace greater transparency. This could involve a range of strategies, from diplomatic engagement to economic incentives. all aimed at bringing China to the negotiating table. The future of global security may very well hinge on finding a way to bring China to the negotiating table and establish a more stable and predictable nuclear order. Achieving this will require concerted effort and cooperation from the entire international community. Understanding China's motivations for its nuclear buildup is crucial for formulating an effective response. This involves delving into the historical, political, and strategic factors that drive China's nuclear ambitions. Several factors contribute to China's nuclear ambitions. These include the desire for international recognition, the need for a credible deterrent, and the aim to secure its national interests. One key driver is the pursuit of nuclear great power status. China seeks to be seen as an equal to the other major nuclear powers, the United States and Russia. This recognition is not just about prestige, but also about influence and the ability to shape global norms and rules. A robust nuclear arsenal is seen as a key attribute of great power status. It serves as a symbol of technological and military prowess, and a means to project power and influence. It provides a sense of security and prestige. For China, having a credible nuclear deterrent is not just about defense but also about asserting its position on the world stage. China's leaders likely believe that a credible nuclear deterrent is essential for deterring potential adversaries and safeguarding its interests on the global stage. This belief is reinforced by the complex and often volatile international security environment. Furthermore, China's nuclear modernization program is driven by a desire to ensure its security in a rapidly changing security environment. This includes advancements in missile technology, warhead miniaturization, and delivery systems. The U.S.'s military presence in the Asia-Pacific region, coupled with tensions over Taiwan and the South China Sea, has heightened China's sense of vulnerability. These geopolitical flashpoints are seen as potential triggers for conflict, necessitating a strong deterrent. China's nuclear buildup can also be seen as part of a broader effort to modernize its military and prepare for future conflicts. This modernization is comprehensive, covering land, sea, air, and cyber domains. China's military strategists are increasingly focused on developing advanced capabilities, such as hypersonic missiles, to challenge U.S. and Russian nuclear dominance. These technologies are seen as critical for gaining an edge in future conflicts and ensuring China's security and strategic interests.